Turn your knees.
Yeah, fine.
Do we know?
Crazy. Oh.
All right, councillors,
Thank you, Anthony.
welcome along to the March meeting of the Shire of Wagen. I will declare the meeting open and recognise that this meeting is being audio recorded in accordance with council policy. There is no member of the public here at this stage, so questions from the public may not happen. Members of the public are reminded that no other visual or audio recording of this meeting is allowed. Okay, we'll quickly go through the items. Public question time, we have none, Mr. CEO. So no public questions or responses to questions at all. Item 3 being application for leave of absence. Councillor Chilcott.
I would like to apply for a leave of absence for the April meeting, please.
Okay. Any other applications first of all? No. Need a motion that we allow leave of absence. Councillor Ball has moved. Councillor O'Brien seconds. Is there any dissent? Take that as carried, 6-0. Okay, petitions and deputations, we have none. Disclosure of interests, we have 2. CEO, here to read.
Yes. To receive this, so there's one from Councillor Ball for item 2.3, 12.3, sorry, the hangar for and workshop wage in Airfield, and an impartial interest from Councillor O'Brien related to item 12.1, which is the 2 Bellingen Street item.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to item 6 then, councillors, there is a recommendation that the unconfirmed minutes of the ordinary meeting of council held 25th of February be confirmed, and dot point 2, noting due to a technical error, the meeting held on 25th of February was not audio recorded. Councillor Chilcott moving on the motion?
Correct.
Seconded, Councillor O'Brien. Is there any questions? Any dissent on the motion? Declare that carried, 6-0. 6.2 is a recommendation the council receives the unconfirmed minutes, or they will be confirmed, of the audit committee meeting held Tuesday 18th February. Councillor Ball is moving. Councillor Kilpatrick seconds. Refers to the compliance audit. Nothing you wish to add, Mr. CEO?
No, thank you.
Okay, is there any dissent on the motion? That being the case, I will declare that carried, 6-0 also. Move on to item 8. And on page 9, the monthly financial report for February. It's a recommendation that council receive the report. Councillor Kilpatrick has moved. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Ball. Manager of Finance, I know you have a later item with regards to the budget review. Is there anything you wish to add on this?
No.
Okay. Councillors, any questions to the Manager of Finance? She gets off lightly every week. There being none, is the any dissent on the motion? Declare that carried, absolutely, 6-0. The next page, Mr. CEO.
Will be page 52.
Thank you. Okay, yes, 8.1.2 on page 52, recommendation that council receive the list of accounts paid under delegated authority for February. Councillor Kilpatrick has moved, Councillor Ball seconds. Okay, opportunity to question of those accounts. You've had your question answered, Councillor O'Brien. Thank you. There being no questions, any dissent on the motion? I shall put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? It's carried, 6-0. Okay, we have 8.1.3, CEO's activity report. Recommendation in 2 parts. Part 1, will receive the report and waive the fees of the RV area for the Blaze Aid and its volunteers. Councillor O'Brien, were you moving on that?
Yes, I was.
Thank you. Councillor Chilcott seconding.
Yes.
Mr. Mr. CEO, of your report, anything else you wish to flesh out?
No, I did last night attend the meeting of the Woolarama or the Exeter Society, and passed on the Shire's appreciation for that. I think it was a really good partnership this year, as always. And things like the carpet tiling, I think was an excellent a move that increased the professionality of that venue. As I was leaving the showgrounds, I did see that the lights were on at the Country Women's Association building, and popped in and said g'day to the Blaze Aid team, who of course now assembled and are working very, very hard on the fence lines around there. I passed on our appreciations there, and yeah, they're a good bunch of folks. So yeah.
All right, thank you. Questions? CEO? That report at least?
I was just going to follow on from the Blaze Aid, obviously first hand, and seeing next door what they're doing out away, and they're doing an excellent job.
Good.
Very friendly, got involved, and yeah, you know, quality of the work, it's great. And you know that from the landowners that have had fencing done now, they're very appreciative of it.
Right.
So
Okay.
set a cracking pace.
In this weather, that's pretty well
Oh, yeah.
done. Councillor Chilcott?
I just have to say that I had occasion to meet them on Saturday morning. Just calling in and introducing themselves to business houses, etc. And they called in to see if we could facilitate and loan them some bags for their containers for change items. Yeah, lovely people. One of the ladies even said to me, I think she might have been one of the supervisors, her name's Kerry. She suggested that one of the ladies was very distressed that her garden had burnt down and she wanted to buy a rose for her. So
Really?
it's just the heart, not just the actual, fixing the fences and stuff. There's a lot of heart that goes into what they do. So I commend them for that.
Yeah, okay, very good. All right, any further questions of the CEO? If not, is there any dissent on the motion? I shall declare that carried 6-0.
64.
64. Okay, yes, so 8.1.4, the Shire of Dumyung draft Dumyung Lake Trail Master Plan. Recommendation to council notes plan. Moving, councillor Chilcott?
I am.
Okay, councillor Chilcott so moved. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Ball. Anything further to add, Mr. CEO?
Not particularly, no, thank you.
Questions, councillors? Councillor Ball?
I guess what would be the engagement that we'd undertake is, I have some contacts in Dumyung, obviously, that there are some issues with landholders that aren't too keen to have traffic quite close to a couple of houses, and some issues with motorbikes on these trails as well, and just wondering, it's not a complete agreement on the way ahead.
No, certainly not. So the CEO of the Shire came and met with the Deputy CEO and I a couple of weeks back to kind of flesh out the parts of that plan, some of the history and some of where the thoughts are going in the future. There is, as referenced, I guess, in the plan, but something he articulated a lot further in those discussions, is that the Shire of Dumyung recognises that there is not uniform support for the proposals, and he gauged that in fact there was probably more support amongst the landowners on the Wagen side of the Lake Dumyung side than there were of actually the Shire of Dumyung side. But again, that's based on their own community engagement, which they don't include on our side. There is innumerable issues with land tenure and the like, which they have to work through. There is also, the master plan as such is not the detailed plan that would need to that they would need to prepare in order to get those land tenure issues aside or attract government funding. So there are a whole series of steps that that Shire needs to undertake if they wish to progress that. Their task from their council and their community disposal plan was to produce a master plan. If their council ultimately decides to invest further in it and go down that path, then there will be obviously further engagement. And the CEO of Dom Young certainly indicated that they were not seeking anything from us at this stage other than being good neighbours and letting us know that that work was continuing, I guess.
Okay, thank you. Anything further?
Generally, I support the idea, but certainly, so there are some difficulties in just how we help tackle them, I suppose, is what I was about. But you explained that, thank you.
Yeah, the tenure of some of the patches of the land is difficult, isn't it? It will be a challenge for them, but other than that, I would, support them and their opportunities. Another tourist venture potentially is got to be a good thing.
Good evening.
Good evening, Councillor West.
Thought I'd seen a ghost.
Welcome
That is
back.
me, yeah, no. In real life. Don't have a heart attack.
Councillor West, we're on the Dumyung draft Lake Trail Master Plan item on page 64. It'll take you a little while to bring that up, perhaps, but we're on about if there's no dissent to the motion. Councillor West, do you have thoughts on this motion, or are you prepared for me to move along?
That's right, Dummy Young, okay.
Page 64.
What, page 64?
Is it working?
Right.
Right, you with us now, Councillor West? I'll just give you the opportunity to have a quick look at that recommendation. Questions have been asked. If you have no further questions, I'll ask once again, is there any dissent on the motion? If not, I shall put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? That's carried 7-0.
Page 97.
97. Thank you. There it is. Okay, yes, 8.1.5 on page 97, Arts Narrogin. There's a recommendation that we are interested in partnering with Narrogin, subject to or availability of funding from the budget. Councillors, how do you wish to deal? Nod. Yes, you're moving, Councillor Kilpatrick?
Go.
Okay. Councillor Ball, seconds. Anything further, Mr. CEO?
I might just, with the indulgence of Council, I've just noticed that I have too many tiers in the sentence, although I think Amy's already corrected that kindly for me. Level 2 tier contribution. The second tier can go. I was getting too excited about using the word tier.
Yeah. Wonderful one, syllable word.
In a practical sense, I would observe today that I had the opportunity to meet with the head of Arts Narrogin, who came by to present on a potential theatrical performance that may be of interest to the Shire. I do actually have a video link which I'll distribute to council after the meeting. This is the type of thing that could be done. It doesn't tie ourselves to it. The day unfortunately got away from me, I wasn't able to share it out. But essentially, one of the things that they're proposing is the Black Swan Theatre Company has a production called The Pool, and it's a fairly unique theatre production where the actual performance occurs in the pool, in the Shire pool.
Oh.
It's a play about the people that go and swim at pools and people who manage pools and the people, and there's different vignettes and stories in that, and the actual performance is pre-recorded in terms of the audio, and so the audience members actually have the headphones, you would at a silent disco, and listen to the pre-recording of it. And it ran at the Perth Festival. It's going to run in Port Hedland and Broome and Geraldton. We were the only place south of Geraldton that we went for it. Again, as it's sort of noted in the officer's report, art is very much what someone's great art is, someone's bad art and the like. But in terms of an offering that is something that would be unique to the assets that we have in this community, I thought it was one that, it was certainly an interesting one that I'd like to explore with council by just sort of showing this video off to councillors after we had this discussion. But again, the motion for tonight does not commit us to that performance or any other performance for that matter, but it was just a coincidence today that I had a good meeting with Arts Narrative.
All right. Thank you. That actually sounds quite interesting. Questions, councillors? Councillor West?
Good evening, Mr. President. This here would have to be a budgeted item, or is there a?
Yep.
Okay, right.
Absolutely, yes. So the history of this is that we've got some correspondence from Arts Narrogin inviting the Shire to make a financial contribution to Arts Narrogin. I initially responded back and said, thanks for that. What do we get?
Yeah.
And to their credit, they provided the correspondence which was attached to the attachment there, talking about the different funding tiers, is that word again, and the options for that and the like. So this resolution, if passed by council, would give me the imprimatur to go back to Arts Narrogin and say we are interested. It's subject to our budget discussions, but let's talk more about what the show could be, or the arts installation, or whatever that is. Come up with some proposals and move forward on that basis, subject, of course, to the budget, and also working out a convenient time within the cycle of our community and our events calendar.
Yep. And looking at the tier 2, as in that matrix that's there, there's a few other
That's right.
add-ons that could occur as well.
That's
So,
right.
but we will look at it more closely in the budget.
Yes, absolutely.
That'd be my thinking.
Understood.
Yep. All right. Any further? If not, I believe it. Yes, I have moved and seconder. Is there any dissent on the motion? I will declare that carried 7-0. And we shall move along. Item 8.1.6. Proposed revisions of the Shire of Wage and Policy Manual. Councillor Ball?
I just had one query on policy W1, school bus policy,
Right.
which doesn't, the policy states safety signs will be approved in the opinion of a manager, works and councillor, which in the end meant two people having a look. But from my point of view, I don't think that we need anything other than the manager of works to do such a thing, because it's obviously quite it's an imminent danger type item that would need to be done straight away. So it's,
So if I was a bold, Councillor Ball, you could move the motion with the amendment to that second last dot point, saying amend council policy W1 school bus policy by deleting the text councillor.
yeah.
So replacing, you're going to delete councillor.
By deleting the text councillor, yes.
Yep.
I'll be happy to move on that basis then.
Okay, thanks. Councillor Ball has moved on the recommendation with that adjustment. Yes, as written. You seconding, Councillor Chilcott. All right, any further? CEO, nothing from yourself to add?
No, thank you.
All right. Is there any dissent on the motion? In which case, I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? It's carried 7-0. Next item, referring to the same area, the review of delegations 2025. The recommendation, council has reviewed the delegations as contained in attachment 1 and amends the delegations in attachment 2. Councillor prepared to move.
Yes.
Thank you. Councillor Wall has moved. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Longmuir. Very quiet today, Councillor Longmuir. Been a long day. Is there any questions of the item? Any dissent on the motion? If not, I shall declare the motion carried 7-0.
160.
Thank you. That's a fair way away. Okay. Item 8.2.1 is the Deputy CEO's activity report. As a recommendation, the council notes said report. Councillor prepared to move on the recommendation. Councillor Ball, thank you. Councillor Kilpatrick seconds. Mr Deputy, refreshed and relaxed after a little time off.
Yes.
Anything you wish to add to the report?
I think it continues to be a fairly busy time ranger-wise.
Okay.
We've had, a recent dog attack against some sheep. We've had picking up of a continual delinquent dog in the pound at the moment. That's had 3 delinquents. And there's a
That dog?
particular house with lots of cats, which Narrogin, there's a concerted effort going to happen on a health act,
Okay.
on a health basis. So there's a few issues going on that Narrogin Rangers are helping us with.
Okay. All right. That's your report?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, questions, councillors?
Yeah, through the chair, please, Mr President. I notice in here you're referring to the electronic sign. We've secured a number of out-of-town business advertising, they want to advertise on the sign. And I guess my question at the moment, talking about advertising, I did bring this up quite a considerable many months ago about the Shire advertising council meetings.
Yeah.
I wonder has that been implemented yet?
Well, it was certainly implemented at the time. I would have to double check that it's continuing, but yes, it was definitely supposed put in place. But I will double check that it's continuing to happen.
My main reason for asking that and getting it put up there for council meetings, it's not very, very far away, just down the road, we've got council elections coming on. And to try and get people interested in coming along to our meetings, we need to be advertising it, look, only a week out, but just put it up there often, just prior to a council meeting. So we hopefully try and get a bit of interest and get some maybe general public coming along to our meetings and see what actually goes on here.
Mr. President, I imagine that there is a regular note up there which would get changed from one council meeting date to the next. So as soon as today's meeting happens, then the date changes for the next meeting. So my impression is that there should be something on there pretty much all the time on where when the next council meeting is.
I feel as I've seen it, but it's some time ago, so I have seen it at least once, but I can't say that it's there all the time.
There's a lot on this
week.
line though. It takes quite a while to actually run through the whole gamut of notices, so you need to be there for a fair while to actually see everything.
It may be interesting for council to actually receive a listing of the number of advertisements that we have got on the site at the moment. Because there is, I seem to see a different one every time I go past. Yeah.
All right, we'll move on. Any further questions, Mr Deputy? If not, it has been moved and seconded. Is there any dissent on the motion? If not, I'll declare it carried absolutely. We'll move on to the 8.3 Manager of Finance, and in particular the annual budget review. I think perhaps we might just refer to you, Manager, to run through the document to some level before we actually take the motion. Might not be exactly the correct process, but if you're willing to do that.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. So I will just, before I do that, I will just say that the officer recommendation is a summary based on nature and type, which is the required format for our budgeting and reporting. Our current budget surplus is $7,384. This budget review increases that surplus to $70,480. While there are a number of unders and overs in the budget review, the key savings are decreases in capital road construction items, being the Vernon Street and Hunt Street reseals, both of which are shy funded. These projects have been withdrawn from the budget rather than being carried forward and will need to be budgeted for in the 2025-26 year. Throughout the budget review process, officers wanted to create a surplus in case of any unforeseen over expenditure in areas such as road maintenance and fire remediation works. Should the surplus funds not be required by the end of the financial year, they will be used to fund the Vernon and Hunt Street projects in the 25-26 budget. That's-
Yep, makes sense.
So how much would you like me to drill down
Um,
on?
Okay, councillors, well, perhaps ask you that question. Do you want to go through this in detail? Have you read it in its entirety? Where would you like to go?
No, I'm happy with the documents it is, the flags for me are always the stuff that's carried over for the next year, that create a false surplus, as you've quite rightly explained, that then we need to keep those things in mind, but I think that we're in a fairly healthy state, really, so I think
Okay,
it's good.
so you prepared to move on the recommendation, councillor Wall?
Yes.
Thank you. Councillor Wall has moved, councillor Kilpatrick seconds. Just the query perhaps if I can, just before we do go further, then the costing for fire roads recovery, you did give me a figure which the other councillors haven't seen. It's, I must say I'm comfortable with that. You're confident that we're going to be able to manage these figures going forward?
I believe so, based on what the figures are
Right.
at the moment, and with Alan, the manager of works, saying that they will be finished on Friday. So currently, we're sitting on around about 50,000, which won't include any of the workers' time for the last fortnight. That only gets added in when we do the payroll, which will be done on Thursday. And there may be some invoices for hire plant that we won't have gotten yet.
Yep.
But considering we did have the possibility of the 172,000 in the reserve, I'm confident that we are going to come in, I would say, under that.
Inside of that.
So, Mr. President,
Sure.
I observe that obviously we costed it based on a scenario where it would take several weeks leading into potentially months to do, and so that, you know, when you do the estimates of staff time and the additional personnel that we were going to hire in, or as casuals or as contractors, and those high costs, it was based on that. The team up there have done a power of work along with the property owners there, and well, I haven't been on any equipment myself or actually done any work. Perhaps it was been, through their work, actually has been easier than we perhaps had anticipated because of the cooperation of the landowners. And the work has been done in a really timely manner. So that has resulted in less expenditure than we thought, because it's taken less time than we thought.
Okay. Thanks. CEO, you got a question, councillor West?
Yeah, Mr. President, this budget amendment description, is this an indicative thing, is it? Indicative numbers?
No, it's actual.
Huh?
It's actual,
Actual.
as best as I can tell. Manager of Finance, these are
So
actual numbers.
moving forward, is this going to be into our budget?
This current budget,
Yeah.
it's the,
The reason I'm asking is, I see we got a reduction in $60,000 for wetlands park upgrades.
what page are you looking at?
Oh, it's on the very first page, 173, third line down.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mr. President,
Please.
the 60,000 from the Wetlands Park has been transferred over to the Cricket and Hockey Pavilion project due to the increased billing costs of that project. And I believe that the Wetlands Park project is still going to go ahead internally. So, Mr. CEO, is that correct?
Well,
So it's part of that LR clip funding round. as I recall.
The LRCIP.
Yeah, LRCIP,
Phase
it's funding round that we do need to move on with haste to the end of this financial year. And so when we were allocating those funds, the wetlands was one of the areas that we put it to. And I think, am I right, Mr. CEO, in suggesting that the costing has risen a little on the Hockey Cricket Club facility? So we've reallocated those funds.
Okay, so you took it from there and put up to the cricket.
Yeah, so
cricket
when
president.
council adopted the LRC, they adopted the LRC projects back in May of last year, I believe.
Yep.
We sort of nominated, and appeared in the council resolution, kind of a 1A and 1B project that we hoped that we'd be able to do both projects with the funding that we had, but in the event that the Hockey and Cricket Pavilion, which was the 1A project, costs were going to get greater than that, we thought that we would take to council moving that funding across. And in the awarding of the tender, when Action Sheds was awarded the tender, it was noted again that the funding would need to move across from those particular projects. Large proportions of the wetlands park upgrades being the construction of a all-access pathway can be done without funding through existing Shire resources. We just need a little bit of time to do those. The other parts, which were the seating, is something that we are working through how to best deliver those upgrades, and probably be subject to a future council decision.
Okay. The basis of my point of bringing this up is because someone mentioned to me, could we upgrade our water fountain or water feature? And that's hence why I'm asking.
That would be something you might need to put to the next budget.
Okay, look, that's.
You can do that.
Yeah.
So
okay.
at the moment, obviously, we have the community grant process, and we are very much actively seeking ideas from the community about what the community wants to have as capital projects. I received correspondence from Rotary regarding toilet in the cemetery, for example, that I intend to present to council as part of our budget deliberations for the 25-26 financial year. And certainly the fountain, or lack thereof, of the fountain is something I've walked past many times and gone, yep, that'd be nice to get going, for example.
Thank you.
Yep. All right. That being the case, Manager of Finance, you've got nothing further
No.
to bring in? All right. No further questions, councillors? Has been moved and seconded. Is there any dissent on the motion? Shall put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? It's carried absolutely. Somebody's going to be in this page.
It's 191.
191, yes.
That might be a long way on. Thank you. Manager of Works, activity report. There's a recommendation that council notes said report. Councillor Kilpatrick has moved. I have a seconder. Councillor Chilcott. Manager of Works, anything you need to expand upon?
Just that we've been pretty busy as usual. We've got our last seal job to do on Balladgen Road near Foley's. We're just waiting for the stabilisers to come on the 1st of April, and that'll be sealed on the 7th. And that's all that bitumen done for the year. We've been at the firegrounds that we just talked about. We should hopefully be finished with the loaders and that on Friday, so it's just a grader run around scratching a few roads up. You'll only be there for about a week after that, I think, and then we'll be all done.
Right.
Is the Delion North Road, has that been, had the grader over? That was quite rough after the rain.
Yep, he done it this week. Up near Sean's.
Well, and back towards the highway.
Yeah, yep, no, it's been cut over. Yep. There's another spot we've got to do on Friday on Rouse Road, from the Dongalocking up past Rowley's
Mm.
to up near the tanks. That got a bit of a hammering up there. So they'll go up Friday and pull that back up and fix that road up as well.
He
But all the rest aren't too bad.
Of course, that's
There's just no
He
stuff.
told me he didn't need much chemical because he hadn't had much growing out there.
Yeah, it's pretty bare, the paddocks. That's why it's done the damage. Comes straight out of the gateways and down the
All
road.
the pasture paddock.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, sure enough.
We're gonna start the hockey club, putting the limestone blocks around and getting the pad in next Tuesday, next week, next Tuesday.
Good.
I've got to meet the plumber tomorrow. See what he's got to do. Yeah, just got to do odd jobs, extending culverts and stuff like that after that.
All right, thank you. Any questions, Manager, Councillor Ball?
I had an inspection for myself on the roadside work and compliment you on how well it's been done. I did run across a landholder that had some burnt country that shed quite heavily in that rain. That always happens west of town.
Yeah.
And there are a couple of culverts there near Hammersley's that got filled up with
Yeah,
rubbish.
I cleaned them out today. I sent the back of that yesterday, and they're done then. There were 3 truckloads out of one of those culverts. They come up Hammersley paddock. Yeah, so they're gonna go around and just clean all those culverts out in the next few days.
Well done.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. Further questions?
I'll just make a further comment. You may recall a few years ago we put some floodways in around the Shire. And the one, we obviously had the severest rain on that Delhi Line North Road. The floodway out there has held up very well.
It has,
It would have not, that would have
That would have been gone.
gone, so.
Probably
It's
just
been
need
a
to-
big investment, but it's a long-term good option, really, yeah.
Yeah, just probably
It's
need
definitely
to-
worth looking at, yeah, if you get a chance, yeah.
Okay.
about a half load of gravel on the northern side of that culvert, a bit of a dip there. But other than that, it held up really well.
Yeah, that's amazing.
There's some gravel up the road, I know where to get it.
Good. All right. Is it still working, Mr. CEO? Good. Any further questions of the Manager of Works?
I came in on the Beaufort Road recently and for the first while, and I thought the widening you'd done there was, I've probably been out in the ute previously, not really noticed it, but I was in the truck and it was, made that road,
Yeah, it's pretty narrow through there, wasn't it? Through that section?
yeah, so, and, yeah, felt like Highway 1, so it was, yeah,
Yeah, it come up really good, that.
just
Yeah.
less clowns on the road than
Yeah.
Highway 1.
I won't comment. All right, if there's no further questions.
I just have one more
Councillor
comment
Law.
that to the Manager of Works credit, that our roads are steadily improving. Right, they go to lots of other shires where the status quo is all they're maintaining. One of our southern neighbours is adopting that strategy, but I'm very happy to go to the regional road crews meeting and have the comments that our roads are getting better, which
Thank you.
is good planning and good execution.
Thank you, yeah.
And some of that, if I'm going to guess, Mr. Manager of Works, is the heavy rollers that you put over it.
That's definitely done it.
Yeah.
I told you, when we bring that into practice, I said it'll take 3 or 4 years to get that construction in there. And it's showing now, yeah. They're holding up pretty well. You'll get the fear that corrugate's a little bit on top with the loose material, but underneath she's pretty hard. Yeah.
There you go. All right, thank you. Anything further? If not, it has been moved and seconded. Is there any dissent on that motion? I shall declare that carried 7-0. Okay, item 9, Mr. CEO. Motions of which previous notice has been given? There are none. Questions of which previous notice has been given? Obviously there aren't any. Urgent business. Did I miss an item with regards to the President having his little patch to say what he wants to say?
You did.
You did.
But I didn't.
Terrible.
I thought you might deliberately skip it, but.
Not deliberately, no.
All right.
I will go there, whatever item number that may be, just briefly to add my little monthly effort, and certainly the Woolarama we went to, and the CEO and myself attended the Woolarama lunch on your behalf. which is a gathering of the major sponsors and potential sponsors. And I was alerted after the lunch to one of the potential sponsors, without spilling too many beans, but watch this space, it sounded very exciting, I have to say, so we'll look out for that in the near future. A couple of days before, I was at the State Council Walga meeting in Perth, and there was a highlighted feature there which has created some angst around the state with regards to a climate change policy. Councillor Kilpatrick was at the zone meeting when that was discussed, and it's basically been put right back to be rethought through. In my opinion, it was pushing local governments down a pathway that a large number of local governments didn't want to go, which is funding some positions with regards to climate change, be it plus or minus. But you know, what we're trying to push back on essentially is if state and federal governments have a policy in this area, they can well fund it. If local governments haven't got that policy, we should not have to carry a whole lot of additional taxation burden for that process. So I raise that because I think you need to know, CEO and I just did discuss earlier today the climate change declaration which Walga have presented, and to my knowledge 79 of the 139 local governments haven't signed that document. 60 local governments have, so they're in a minority, and yet it did to me appear as though we were being pushed in that direction by the minority. So we raised the issue fairly strongly at the zone meeting, Councillor Kilpatrick, and I think we've got a little bit of traction out of it.
Yeah, that's really good.
I think we've got some traction. Also today, CEO and I met with the Woodnilling Shire, the president and the acting CEO, some of you might know. His name's Mark Hook. And we chatted with regards to just resource sharing, because they're going through, like we've been to some degree, tumultuous times with turnovers of senior staff. Also struggling as we are to get outdoor staff, outside staff, so we just tried to go through how we can do some resource sharing. In due course, CEO and their new CEO will put their heads together and maybe come up with some plans. Do you wish to expand?
Not this time, no.
Okay. That's fine, but I think the more we can do that resource sharing with our neighbours, you know, the better off we'll all be. Certainly highlights to me that they have the same issues with the outside staff, and they have, dare I say it, more challenges internally because of the size of their operation. So I think a few staff with a lot of badges to wear makes it fairly difficult for them. But anyway, watch this space. I'm fairly hopeful we might get some traction, Mr. CEO. So that's my report for the month. Having said that, we shall move on to urgent business. You have none, in which case there is a confidential item or two. And in the first instance, we will need to close. Thank you, Councillor Chilcott. Are you moving that we close the meeting to the general public?
I am voting.
Councillor O'Brien has seconded that motion. Is there any dissent on the motion? I will declare that carried 7-0. Public have left the building. There being no further business,